Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where I chat with founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And today's episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. If you're a food or beverage brand looking to grow on social, grow your audience, grow engagement, make an impact, check out firebellymarketing.com. Today, we have a return guest. So he's joining a rare group of return guests, and he's a seasoned entrepreneur and a leader, Matt Oscamou of Three Trees, and he is no stranger to building brands. He was on the show before with Weller, which he grew significantly, and now he's helping lead Three Trees, an organic plant-based milk company. And we just bumped into each other at Expo, and that was so fun. And he's on a mission to create pure, nourishing products with real ingredients. So he's got so many years of scaling sustainable, mission-driven brands. So Matt, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you so much, Duncan. It's great to be with you, and it was really fun to run into you at Expo West. It was unexpected, which was super fun. We were at the Fresh Ideas tent showing a few new products and taking advantage of the early excitement at the show. And to see you stop by was really fun. So great to reconnect.
I was like, that's my guy. So, and I was a big believer in and a customer of your previous company. And so I was like, what's happening? And then what the excitement continued because I didn't know where you were in your journey. And then I was like a couple days later with my son walking at Fresh Time, and I saw the pistachio milk at Fresh Time, and he was like, is this a startup? And I was like, no, it's not. So yeah, we're here to talk about all of that stuff. So Three Trees.
Yeah.
Matt, what is your role now?
So I'm COO at Three Trees. I just joined the company in August of last year. So it's been about 7 months or so. And it's interesting. I've known Jenny Yu, the founder of Three Trees, for 10 years. Back at my very first company, Frontier Snacks, we were producing our product at this commissary kitchen in San Mateo called Kitchen Town, which is like for anybody in the Bay Area that's getting into the food industry in San Francisco Bay Area. Kitchen Town is an amazing place to start up. So like when I was at Frontier, we rented the gluten-free kitchen, and we could make our products in a certified gluten-free environment and bake it. And then Jenny with Three Trees was in the next room over making almond milk, and she'd have, barrels there and mixers and bottling things for Blue Bottle Coffee at the time. And so she and I were in the thick of it as entrepreneurs, early phase right then. Like we were both about 2 years into the journey. And so, we commiserated a lot. And over the years, just like you and me at Expo West, I would see her every year at Expo West, and we'd be like, oh, what are we doing here? Like, this is so frustrating, but also so great. And so, after Weller got acquired in the summer of last year, and I was doing a few other things, and Jenny and I reconnected really around some operations things that were going on with Three Trees. And I offered to help her out, thinking it would just be a short, little, consulting kind of thing, and just, help a company I love. And it turned into a much bigger role, which has been really, really fun. I mean, it's just a step into a company that's 12 years old, but still acts and operates like a nimble, early phase company. It's pretty fun. We've been able to make some, with a great team around us. Like, there's only 7 people on their team in total, so it's still small. But boy, we're doing some great stuff in the market. It's really fun.
I mean, in the pre-show, we were talking about how someone asked the founder of Guayaki lately, hey, you're an overnight success. And his point was an overnight success, 20 years in the making. And so I think for a company that's been around 12 years to still roll like a startup is actually a tremendous advantage.
Yeah, it really is. We were just me and some of our leadership team were in a meeting just an hour ago talking about, some of the performance at Whole Foods Market and, thinking about ways that we might be able to tackle certain issues. And you can't do that if you're a big company. It's going to go through layers and layers of bureaucracy. But, we're sitting here talking about, okay, what if we make this little change? Just in messaging on the pack, like, is that going to have an impact and how do we figure this out? And that, like, we can make a decision really quick and start moving on it, which is great. We can communicate with our buyers because we've got relationships like right, that have been cultivated for years and that are more collaborative than, adversarial. So it's really a unique spot for a company to be in.
I mean, and let me ask you this. I'm sure that you answer this question all the time, but what really makes I mean, the space is getting, a little crowded. What makes Three Trees different?
So Jenny started the company really built on pure clean ingredients, right? So in plant-based milks, historically, there's been a lot of gums, stabilizers, emulsifiers, things to like really to keep a small amount of almond with fat and carbohydrates like in suspension, right? And so like think about silk, plant-based milk 1.0, where you pull that, it's got sugar in it. They're really trying to replicate a dairy milk feel and texture to it. But what we found especially in this, the category started out like broad and like with all sorts of scientific endeavors. And here's Jenny 12 years ago saying, hey, we can just use almonds. We can just use water and a little salt, right? And make something really clean and simple and find the right technology and manufacturing to make that happen. And so when you think Three Trees, our almond milk has the most almonds of any plant-based milk in the category. It's organic. It is made with excruciating care. Myself or one of our operations people is there every time we produce product, which is not something that can be said for everybody else. And so, like, we're making sure that every piece of the product is made to perfection. And it's tough because we're talking about a natural ingredient. When it's almonds and salt, it's got to be the right almonds. It's got to be the right salt. Otherwise, things get thrown off. Like the pistachio milk is like, we've got a lot of pistachios in that product. It's not cheap to make, but you get that rich, nutty pistachio flavor, and it's like this thick, beautiful milk. And then we've got a new oat milk that we just launched that, we got rid of seed oils and all oils, actually. It's an oil-free oat milk that's got some almond blended with the oat to make the richness and like give a great mouthfeel. It's an unbelievable product. And then even kind of let's go back to the beginning. I mentioned silk and soy milk being like one of the early phases. We just launched the new soy milk back in December, and it's a 12 grams of protein per serving, authentic fresh soy milk. So it's not a Tetra Pak that's on the shelf and is going to sit there for a year or two. It's like it's a real like fresh soy milk made right then on the shelf. It's a beautiful product. So I think, okay, there's a long answer to your question, Duncan, but
No,
we're trying to
I
get
love
back
it.
to this, like, what makes us different is like premium, high quality products that we really care about. I mean, you're going to put it into your body. You're going to make it, these products do a job for everybody, right? Is it in your smoothie? Is it in cereal? Is it just drinking out of a glass? And we want that experience to be A plus all the time.
Yeah, thank you, man. And just to add to that, I mean, the organic soy literally has those products and 12 grams of protein, which is really, really impressive.
Yeah, it's more than regular milk, like dairy milk. It's like you get 8 grams of protein in dairy milk, and here we are with 12 of plant-based protein.
I mean, and I'm definitely. I said this to you at Expo at the Fresh Ideas tent. I mean, I'm a persnickety plant-based milk person, and I was blown away by the creaminess of the oat milk. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I can't wait to get my hands on it. But
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean,
I love it.
let me ask you this. With you coming into this with all those years of experience from your snack days and your beverage days, uh, I'm thinking that it must be in some ways really refreshing to come into a new environment. Yeah, it's got challenges and you've got new goals, but it's a whole new environment, not the one you had before.
Right. Yeah, it's as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for like the next best way to do something. Like okay, we did it great yesterday. Now let's reassess and figure out how do we do it better today, right? And for me, having founded two different companies and had a whole career before this, it's like, there's scar tissue here. And the idea of being able to help the company avoid that and share with younger employees that like team members that haven't been on that same journey, like how do we avoid this singular catastrophe that I've experienced and dealt with, or like here's something that really worked well and accelerated the business, let's try it for Three Trees now. And so it's a fun matchup of a well-established brand in the natural foods world with great quality products, with an excited team, and we've got a really bright future right ahead of us right now for Three Trees. It's super exciting. Um, and honestly, Duncan, I can't seem to get myself out of founder mode. Like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. So I think some of the folks I work with at Three Trees are like, why aren't you just like gonna take it easy? No, no, let's go. Let's do this. So yeah,
It's a very particular mindset, Matt. I know, I'm 57, and so I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do. And sometimes people will say, "Hey, are you going to retire? You seem
yeah,
to be doing more things." And I know what you're saying. It is a mindset of being involved, and I think contributing and creating change. And so
yeah,
the thing that is particularly impressive is that not only are you doing all these things, you and Jenny doing all these things today, but that they've been in place in a manner that kind of predates what a lot of the people in the set have been doing.
right. It really does. I
And
mean,
there's
it's kind of like Jenny was doing this before it was cool, when it was the only thing, only game in town. I like she would. I remember Blue Bottle Coffee was a roaster. Well, it still is a roaster and a coffee chain in San Francisco. It got acquired by Nestle years ago, but when Jenny was first starting out, she was making this fresh almond milk and bottling it up, casing it up, and delivering it in her Prius to the Blue Bottle coffee shops in San Francisco and Oakland. So it's like, that's where the history comes from, is like this extreme care and dedication to high quality plant-based milks. So it's pretty fun. It's just like there's a great origin and history and true care and of like a bootstrapped entrepreneur who started a company and just steadily grew it without taking on outside capital, without falling to the whims of whatever the market was saying one day. It's like you see this with so many early phase food and beverage companies where they get caught up in what's the investor going to think and like how are they pushing us to grow the business. And with a company like Three Trees, we take a approach of obviously we want to grow the company and there's great growth plans on the horizon, but how do we intelligently grow the company? How do we make sure that these promotional strategies are actually going to yield us an improved position in the market? And what investments do we make in the company in like for sales that are going to help us take off? And we found some little golden nuggets recently in our recent journey that have been really fun to because they haven't been tapped before. So there's a lot of untapped potential even after all these years. It's fun.
And I mean, Matt, can you just touch a little bit on the product that you'll have too? Because I love kind of expansiveness in a way of the products.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we've got a wide array. There's 8 SKUs in our milk line, and we're working on a few new items that could really enhance the placements and position of the brand. Three Trees is it it's kind of been developed as a platform brand where we could expand off of it into unique adjacent categories, and there's opportunity there. I'm not saying that we're diving straight into that because there's still a lot of wood to chop here in our core plant-based milks. But I think the thought process as we've developed new products is how do we take what's out there and do a better job, or do bring something unique to the table, like our black sesame milk, like that. There's not really any other black sesame out there, and it's this like rich, indulgent sesame milk with some almond in it that that was a passion project for Jenny, just because of her heritage. And black sesame is such a common ingredient in Taiwan, and so she brought that over to the US in this product. And then we've got our pistachio milk, which is just an enhancement of the nut milk line to bring a more premium and nuanced flavor to the category, where there's a couple other pistachio milks out there for sure. But it's a beautiful bottle, it's a beautiful product. People love it. I, that's really the crux of it, is make
Yeah.
something that people are going to crave and want, and don't water it down. Don't fill it with other junk. It's just, how do we make whatever we make? It's going to be clean, pure, and delicious.
I mean, I love that because as I'm seeing kind of the alternative approach, which is all hype, right? It's like let's buy the
Yeah.
hype,
All right.
um,
Yes.
instead of like let's earn it. I mean, the black sesame caught my eye. I have to try that. And even I wanted to just ask about the oil-free oat milk that's specifically focused on kind of a barista level quality.
Yeah.
And without, I mean, we're not dissing baristas here, but baristas tend to be very particular about what they
Yeah.
want to use.
Yeah. We actually, our barista is used in some cafes in the Southern California region. And like, it's really fun to see it used there because it's bringing that nourishing, rich plant-based milk. But we add a couple things to the ingredient deck there on that one that really help it perform well with coffee products. I mean, it's every bit a creamer as it is like easy to work with from a foaming and latte art standpoint. So that was one where it kind of harkened back to the original sales of Three Trees, where Jenny was bringing almond milk to cafes around the Bay Area, and high volume milk consumption businesses. And so, to do something that's really specific and tuned for coffee, so that anybody with plant-based milk, or let's a plant-based diet, or even just non-dairy, is able to get a really premium quality product. Because like, think about the entire creamer category in general, like a lot of it is not dairy, but it is full of all sorts of garbage, sweeteners that you can't control, stabilizers, oils, etc. And what's fun is, well, it's not fun. It's just like, there's a fact of what's happening out there right now, is that seed oils are so commonly used in oat milk products and in many of the plant-based milks as a cheap way to add fat to the product, for mouthfeel, for foaming characteristics, or even just like to thicken or like spread easily in coffee. And we had, when we launched this product, it's been a little while that the barista product's been in the market, but we had made a conscious decision to get rid of oils, and like that there was a better way to do this with whole almonds and with some of the other ingredients that we already knew so well. So the idea to be able to combine the best of both worlds it's huge. Like it is such a great product, both the oil-free oat milk as well as the oil-free oat barista. And one's richer, like ready for coffee, one's ready to use as a ingredient in all your all your products. So yeah, that's kind of the crux of that one.
I mean, I was looking at some numbers, around how many people buy like espresso machines for home and foamers and stuff. And although you see these machines everywhere, a lot of times people buy them, they don't actually use them on a daily basis, right? They're cool to
Yeah,
have. They use them on Saturday. And at our
true.
house, I mean, we use fellow, a gooseneck fellow. We
So
make
do I.
Well, you control the temperature, you use Chemex, and then we use a foamer, with our milk. And I want to bring your attention, bring the conversation to the fact that you said performance. And because a lot of times the oat milk may taste good, but it doesn't actually perform in a
Yeah,
coffee drink. It just doesn't taste very good,
right.
or maybe it doesn't foam, whatever it is. And so the fact that you're thinking about that is kind of unbelievable because that's such a barista way of thinking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the Three Trees team is it's a group of passionate foodies to at the bottom line. Like we think about these things, and when if you're going to have an experience and pay for a product to help you achieve that experience, you want it to actually meet those expectations. So everything from formulating to make sure that it doesn't like the product doesn't break in an acidic coffee. Because that's a common problem with plant-based creamers and milks is that you pour it in, but then it coagulates and separates and that's there's science behind this of how do we mitigate that and make sure that you get the best possible performance while you're drinking that product and making it at home. So yeah.
I also love the fact that your team is so lean.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming when you said bootstrapped, it's like, hey, we haven't sold the farm, for a little bit of growth. So I think that from a founder happiness standpoint, from a founder control standpoint, those are critical things and
Oh
also
yeah.
useful from an integrity standpoint because you can do the product the way you want to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, that's the beauty. Jenny, our founder, she would be here with us today, but she just had a baby. I guess it was 4 weeks ago. So she is deep in new mother world right now. And actually, I'm grateful that like the way this all came together, like that we're trucking along and making things happen and keep moving while she's able to take time with her family, which is that's it's kind of the blessing of a founder-led company that is focused on the right things and has a team of people that are all focused on the same things, and it's all about that execution. So it's Three Trees. It's pretty great place, gotta say, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because I mean, you hear these horror stories, about founders who are sick and have to keep working, and or founders that can't take any downtime, or they're constantly pushing,
Yeah,
and it's like one of the beautiful things about being a founder is that you should have some freedom, you know.
yeah, right,
And
exactly.
I love that. I love that you mentioned that. What are you excited about at the moment?
Well, I'm excited about a handful of things. Even just ideating around new products and new categories that would be a good fit for Three Trees. That's something that's really fun. I mean, this sounds silly, but the I am honestly excited about the quality of people that are um, are ushering this company into newer heights every day. Like the, our head of sales, Parker, he's the former buyer from Whole Foods Global, who was you know, on the other side of the table from us at Whole Foods for several years. He left and then decided to come join us. So we've got a unique perspective there. And it's a testament to like, hey, this is a great company with great products and he believes in it. And so he believed in it when he was at Whole Foods and in building this entire category. And then he joins us. And then, the same is true across the board. I mean, like our head of operations, he's a chemist who has like a genius brain around like what's the chemical composition and how things are working. So it's like multifaceted how everybody leans in. It's not just like, I just run numbers on our performance, or I just run numbers on our next production run. And, I put up Instagram posts. Like, no, it's collective. It's everybody moving in the right direction towards a goal. So I love that about it. And, I'm excited about another product line that we've been working on that I can't quite tell you about yet, but you'll see it this summer. So,
Let me know when you're doing that so I can bring you back 30 days in advance so we can get the podcast out in time to
there you
support
go.
you.
Now we're talking.
Now let me ask you this, Matt. You are such a at least I feel like you're a very balanced guy. How do you I asked you this before and I gotta ask you again. How do you take care of yourself?
Oh boy. I think it's a matter of perspective at this point. When you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times, like the issue du jour is it gives great potential to derail everything, right? And when, I mean, it comes in many different ways, but when you've seen many things and overcome many things as a leader of a company and as somebody who's got it all on the line for something, it gives a renewed perspective. I mean, I was talking to actually the very first employee I hired. Her name's Lucy Rand. She's the VP of marketing at a kids food company now, and she's done great things since I first hired her as a brand manager, as like my first marketing person. And I was chatting with her the other day. We were looking at some graphic design stuff we were working on together, and just because I was soliciting input from trusted folks who've been out there. And at the end of the day, Lucy said, she's like, we're not curing cancer, and we're putting out really good products that people are going to love, but if something needs to change, we can change it. It's not going to kill anybody. It's not, we're like, take everything with some perspective. And like, that's like when I think about how I take care of myself, it's kind of having a little bit of that mentality is, okay, like pause. This issue can't derail us. Like, let's stay focused on the mission. Let's address this and then and actually put a weight to it. Like how, like somebody, like let's say a customer calls in and says, hey, I really don't like your product for this reason. Well, we don't go redesign the whole product, even though like that's the instinct, right? The instinct is, oh, somebody doesn't like it. Let's make them like it. You can't do that. So I just, having seen so many different things, I think that's what you got to do. You got to keep perspective on it. And, for me, at least, always realizing, family's the one who's going to be there with you when this is done or beyond. So, yeah.
That is the truth. I mean, I had a horrible February and when I had my wisdom teeth out and I was like out of commission, everything that could go wrong went wrong, infections and bleeding and all of that,
Uh,
when you get your wisdom teeth taken out at an older age and your
yeah.
family is the only one that stands by you. I mean,
Yeah.
your good friends will come and visit you, but ultimately it's your family, right? So that's really
Exactly.
awesome. Thank you for saying that. I'm so glad that you've come back on the show. The offer's open for you when, prior to the launch. Let us help you with the launch and come back. And thanks for always being so encouraging and enlightening and
Oh man.
expertise. And today specifically with, the evolution of plant-based beverages. So for anyone who wants
Yeah.
to check you out, give them the scoop on where they should go.
Yeah, so Instagram handles is Three Trees Foods. You can check out our website at threetrees.com. Find where you can buy Three Trees at your local retailer or on Instacart, Amazon Fresh. It's cold chain products, so we don't ship direct to consumer, but you can find us in retailers. So we're grateful for all the amazing independent natural retailers out there that have been supporting us for years at this point, and Whole Foods, Sprouts, Fresh Time, Wegmans, all the independents, Lovey's Natural Foods back east, folks like that saw at Expo West. It's, what's fun, Duncan, is like Expo West is such a overwhelming experience most of the time. But when you're out there and you're walking around, we see each other. reconnect after a couple years. I ran into, like I just mentioned, Lovey's. Like I ran into Marie from Lovey's, who would call me directly at Weller and order product, and like I'd have to like manually be putting it into our system. But like we ran into each other on the show floor, and we're talking about Three Trees. It's like, I love Three Trees, one of our best sellers. Like, let's get these new products in. It's just like it takes a village to grow any business, and it's not just about those big retailers. It's about making sure those smaller retailers are supported and have as much passion about your brand as you do. So,
And I tell you what, that is
yeah,
an amazing insight. I mean, it just resonated with me because, yes, you got in our world, you got your big clients, right? And
yeah,
you got your small clients. And in our case, we have three clients that have been with us, even before we became a social media marketing agency. 19 years one client's been working with me. And
wow,
I shower attention on those small clients because it's like those small clients ultimately are safer. You do things for them, they do things for you. I mean, you got to treat them all well, but like, you can't neglect anyone because they're small. I love, love, love that you said that. And
yeah,
the ecosystem that you see at Expo, it's not just about buyers and brands. It's an ecosystem. It really is an ecosystem.
yeah. It really is. And there's like even this weekend, our team, let's say 2/3 or no, 1/3 of the team was at Piazza's Market in Palo Alto, California, doing demos. Like because Piazza's had done a women-owned company for the month of March, so they had us on an end cap and doing things, and so we went there to support that because that's what we do. Support those retailers that help us get here. So pretty good.
And I want to quickly say, I don't know why I forgot to say this earlier, but Jenny, your founder, found her passion for plants from her grandmother
That's right.
at an
Yeah.
early age, which is like such an amazing story. So,
Yeah,
um,
she grew up in Taiwan, and they would make their own almond milk. They'd make their own soy milk, and they'd do all that. And so, you come over to the United States, and it's a totally different experience here because people didn't make their own, and they didn't have the clean, simple quality that she grew up with. So that's a reason for being right there, which is it's really cool. It's a great, great story for the brand and
awesome, Matt. Thank you so
everyone.
much again for coming on and being so kind with your time. Big thanks again to
Absolutely.
Firebelly Marketing for sponsoring today's episode. If you want to build an engaged community and make waves in the food and beverage space, head over to firebellymarketing.com. Once more, big thanks to Matt Oscamou, a friend of the show, friend Firebelly. That's it for today. Keep doing it,
Yeah.
everybody. Keep growing, and we'll see you next time on the Firebelly Social Show.
Thanks, Duncan.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.